grandmothers. This is a day that is always each year very important, these 2 days, and today is no different. Now I'm going to go ahead and just get things started and pass it over to the hostesses, to the interviewers who are going to be taking this conversation in a direction and telling you what this year is all about. But before I do that, let us always establish that we come forth in the name of the Most High Heavenly One. So we say, Bismil Rabb al Khaliqu al Kareem. We begin all things by way of using the name of the Most High Heavenly One, the great I am, and Ray, who is the Creator, the Generous One. We say Ibaren shil Anere, wa shilba barukiment, wa shilba abauna, wa shilba sa, wa shilba gadush rawu, which is, but we begin all things by way of the name of the Most High Heavenly One, the Ray, and of the Blessed Mother, Asit Mirayam, and of the original sacrificial shepherd Osaru, and of the willing son Haru, and of the holy soul Hunsu. This is the African theology and cosmology. This discussion is about manhood. The Women's Conference takes place every year in March. But every year in the month of December, we have the men's conference. It's, of course, is open for women and men. We want women to be present to hear the message. And we just want you to understand the word behind me that says nobility. Nobility, men of nobility. But that word that's right behind me, nobility. We are noble men. We're upright men. We are men of passion. And we're stepping forth into the world to get things done. Now, in the first session, Dr. Ford, if you're there. Is Dr. Ford available? Greenville, South Carolina, are you here with us? Kahun Uncle Sarah, are you there?
Yes, Basesh, can I be heard?
All right, yes, you can. Brother John O'Neill, are you there?
I'm here, Basesh. Can I be heard?
Yes, you can. And Sister Card, me for the tomb, are you here?
Namaste, Basesh. Can I
all
be
right,
heard?
Yes, you can, my sister. We're going to go ahead and hand everything over to you all, and you can tell us what this first session is going to be about, Dr. Ford, and go ahead and set that table. I'm going to go ahead and come off the screen.
Namastu. Can everybody hear me? Yes.
Yeah.
Hopefully coming in nice and crystal clear. Welcome to day two of the Men Conference. And today we are talking about building wealth that serves liberation. So this segment is going to be talking about those personal strengths and those personal family, quote, wealth and resource strategies to really kind of talk about the individual and their family, right, in the house for your specific family. So to get it started, let's go ahead and let's make it a little spicy. Let's go ahead and make it a little spicy. Kahun Akusara, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing well. Question. Okay. In like behavioral sciences and education, they talk about adaptive, neutral, and maladaptive practices. And they say that adaptive practices are those practices that are beneficial for a person, right? And maladaptive would be those things that are opposite. And so in different places of the world, when you have global slavery or colonization, it might be fair to say that a lot of people, melanated people, were encouraged to have maladaptive practices due to the cultural information about money, about finances, about resources that they were being taught from other than self and kind or being taught from Europeans. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. And so a lot of time, this maladaptive education, contributes to conflict amongst melanated people. How can we best handle conflict or differences of opinion when they arise within the group, within the family, without resorting to division?
That's a $2.
Well,
The liquid one.
well, what we have to be aware of is that there's a dynamic that you said earlier. We as a people have been influenced by our oppressors to our detriment and to their betterment. And that's exactly the way that racism, white supremacy works, to keep us in a system that does not benefit us, in order that those who have given us the system of racism, either white supremacy or Indo-Arab supremacy or Oriental supremacy, that they are always in control of the narrative and they're always in control of the resources. So we as a people have to recognize that there is race economics and there is group economics within the race. There are people who are individuals and want to operate as a person who doesn't see race, a person who doesn't identify with any particular racial norms, social norms of a race. And then you have those such as the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, that's ultimately saying we are the group within the race that has social norms, economic identity that will allow for us to solve any conflicts that we have by resorting to our true religious identity. Our true religious identity allows for us to have beneficial rituals that allow for us to become a recognized culture, whereby we become a successful nation of highly motivated, skillful individuals that don't allow conflict to enter our space, because we're going to check it with our true religious identity. There is no economics without first having a true religious identity. And so conflict of any kind can be halted if we take our opinions and our emotions out of the formula and say, what does our scriptures say? What did our Bibis and our Babas who were successful before us say? And that allows for us to now move our emotions or our singular individual point of view out of the way and lean on the group perspective. And then that helps now to bring forth.
Have you been successful with that? Especially
Sorry?
because men and women fight over finances. Families, they fight over finances.
Yes.
Like, how has that worked in real time for you?
In real time, I understand that individual wealth, within the first generation of a wealthy family, 70% of those families are going to go broke. By the second or third generation, 90% of them are going to be broke in real time, according to the NASDAQ. Those people who are fighting over finances think that the economy is a tool of money. Money is a tool of the economy. The economy is the efficient use of every aspect of our culture, of every aspect of our way of life, of every aspect of all the teachings of our Bibis and Babas being used in an efficient manner to liberate ourselves. So if we're only focusing on the money and utilizing the money for our individual goals, we're going to fight. Because our individual goals are tied to our own personal wants, our own personal desires, our own personal needs. So I can tell you, since you asked about real time, in my house, when we get to the point of having to have a money discussion, the question becomes, well, what's best for the whole? What's best for the family? That's helping the Kanisa. That's ultimately going to help us as a nation to build what is necessary for us to build. Doesn't mean we don't have passionate discussion. Doesn't mean everything is just all smooth and perfect. But even if we get to a point where there's a stalemate, we don't stay in that stalemate very long, because our true religious identity says, well, you got to come together to do Sila. You got to come together to light the Shubai candles. You got to come together to do something else outside of that stalemate that you may have had. And then that allows for us to reconsider the stalemate that we had. Because what are we doing? We're going to fight over money? And so long term, it assists us in having a blueprint to not allow finances to keep us divided. Because you're right, many of the divorces that are happening today is because of finances, and it's because people are codependent based on their ability to financially reward each other. When they can no longer do that, the relationship fails. Because there's no group identity, there's no racial identity to allow the economics to be built. Your racial identity is supposed to drive the wealth of the family. But we run away from our race and we join in with other people who the Jews have an economic identity. The Chinese have an economic identity. What they do is they understand that race is not biology. Race, the word race it means narrative, it means account. If the Chinese are selling food, it's Chinese food, even if it's plantains and oxtails. Because they know if I call it Chinese food, I control it. The Jews understand if I have a butcher shop and I know that I'm not going to put any pork in that butcher shop because all of the people who identify with this way of life are going to buy meat only from this shop because they know I'm not going to put pork in this shop. I have now increased my ability to sell meat to a captivated audience, which is going to allow for me to increase my revenue based on my religious and racial identity. So the family is a part of the racial and religious identity. But if the family wants to step away from race and the family wants to step away from religion, well, now it is going to be influenced by all others who have decided that they're going to have a racial and religious identity. And now you're going to conform to their racial standards and their religious standards, which is going to cause you now to be out of tune with who you are genetically, which means you're a slave, basically.
Thank you, sir. And with that, I'm going to pass the ball to Sister Ka.
Let me catch it right quick. All right. Namaste, my brother. My first question is going to come from your personal history. Do you remember when or if there was someone in your life that was teaching you about personal building of wealth? And if so, when did you implement it, or did you implement it at all? Start with Brother Aminta Kanoon.
Thank you for that question. Yes, it was my father. And what he did was he showed me how to become more efficient with money and resources. One thing that I learned from Neely Fuller from his book, Pensatory Code, was that economics was how it pertains to time and all energy. And one thing that I got from that was that a lot of times as men and women, we waste a lot of time and energy on frivolous things that are not important to what relates to a family. And we end up using those resources of our time and energy on helping other people establish their wealth and their income. And we've worked people into our household based off of their information of how they run their religious aspects, their social and political, entertainment, and sex and gender, from those perspectives. And what I've learned was that from Dr. Amos Wilson is that he taught us that we create jobs for many people. We create jobs as musicians. We create jobs as scientists. We create jobs as inventors. Even as an EMT that was invented in the great state of Philadelphia by Black men, because there was a time when you got hurt, you had to drive to the hospital. So Black men have made this way to where you were able to get service to go to a hospital. You were brought to a hospital, and from that perspective, that job of EMT that all people are benefiting from Black men and Black women, they're using that as a job, and then they keep us out of those jobs and make us want to go and find a job, and they control the aspect of what we call um, how we look at things from they're doing great and we're always looking from a perspective of where we're filling out a job application. We are I want to get a job doing this. I want to get a job as an entertainer. We created the entertaining industry. We created the scientific community. The highest scientist on in NASA is a Black man. The greatest inventors, everybody knows, were Africans, Black melanated people from the 1800s to 1900s, even on today. Even the very social media, there would be no social media if Black people weren't on it. We're the flavor of everything. And what we fail to not realize is that we don't give ourselves as much credit that we deserve. And going back to what my father was instilling in me, he was saying, listen, um, you have to know that there's going to come a time you're going to have to learn how to budget your money. And he was very stern on that. And so he taught me a very stern Proverb 13:22, leave an inheritance for your children's children. And I didn't understand what that meant until he passed away, unfortunately. But he left me some core values of making sure that I stayed in a sense of maintaining wealth, so that way I can help my community, I can help my church, I can help the people that I build my circle around. That's going to help me to help other people. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Kahun Anku
Okay.
Sarah. Okay.
Okay. Same question.
No,
Yes.
same question.
Or do you have a different one, sis?
I'm gonna wait for the next question after we run that clip.
Okay. So my father, too, was also one of the first people who really pointed me towards an economic philosophy, if you will, right? He introduced me to the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, which was a good read. It began to teach me the responsibilities around acquiring wealth, etc. However, I've come to learn that Robert Kiyosaki is like $1.2 billion in debt. And he's using debt, he says, in a good way. And there's something about his circle of community, if you will, peers, social strata, that allows him to use debt in a meaningful or positive way. I've never seen Black people, Nubian Melanites, be able to do that. So I can't really relate, even though my father meant well, and there were things from the book that I could learn. I took what I could learn from it, and I began to understand that we as a people ultimately have to find ways to accumulate wealth in a way that's going to be sustainable from one generation to the next. My family, immediate family anyway, We have doctors, we have lawyers, we have teachers, skilled individuals that together, if we were to utilize our funds, we could amass real estate that could allow us to have passive income. I'm telling you what we've tried to do. We own property in Basesh and Cajon Mantu. We're here in the Bahamas, where the original Camisa was. We've talked about there's a whole stretch of land that my family owns. But because we can't agree on utilizing that land to put a strip mall up, everybody have certain amount of stores so they can rent out or actually utilize to sell what they want to sell. Put apartments at the top. We could create passive income, use that passive income to build or buy more land to do the same thing. But we are unable to do that because one family member goes to the Presbyterian church where I grew up. The other one goes to the Church of God that my great-grandfather started. Another one goes to AME church. Then there's those who don't go to church at all. And so when you try to have an economic conversation, there's no unification with regard to standards, with regards to how we as a people can function and actually build wealth. And so we end up in our individual silos, and some are doing very well, others are doing okay, and then there are others who are struggling even more. And so I understand that my father, he did the best that he could. Fortunately, he was a member of the Holy Coptic Church when he passed away, but he was beginning to learn these principles of race identity and understanding a unification doctrine that utilizes the principles of all of the great Bibis and Babas, and looking at people like Mansa Musa and looking like people like Elijah Muhammad, who died a millionaire. They don't talk about that, right? And so I'm grateful for what he taught me, and I'm grateful he put me on the path to get to this point that I'm at today.
Thank you, Cajon. Before I toss the ball back to Dr. Ford, I would like to run a tape, a clip about wealth and riches.
Pulling it up now.
Thank you.
World. It's poor people, it's rich people. Three type of people in this world. It's poor people, it's rich people, and it's wealthy people. The poor people, all they do is talk about money, where my money and I need my money, I got to get my money. The rich people, all they talk about is things. So they talk about my car, my house, and these type of things. The wealthy people talk about ideas. And that's what it's about. There's three types.
Okay. Based on what Master P just said, the definition of poor or poverty is an inefficiency of money or goods. Rich is the connection between wisdom and money. And wealthy is the ability to pass goods and property on to others. Where do you think we stand as a people in this dynamic?
So as a people, we're definitely at the bottom rung of that dynamic, unfortunately, because we still are trying to see the world through the eyes of our oppressor. Our oppressor is printing money and devaluing it at the same time, whereby when we get our money, the money we get is all what we get. When they devalue the money, they can print more money,
By the
right? And they got you focused on money. They don't have you focused on economy. Economy says, I'm going to manage all aspects of my environment. Where you don't have money, and this is why our labor movements are so big in this country today. Where you don't have money, you have to trade your labor, you have to trade your time in order to get some money.
Can I
If
get the
all you do
atonement
is,
version of Calhoun Uncle, not the Presbyterian version?
no, this is the atonement. This is coming from an actual 2020 presentation that I gave to atonists.
She said what she's saying, Cajon, is bring the pain. You're being so reserved. You
You,
don't say a lot of
you are being
I
real.
mean, your
Like, I'm
message
like,
is
can we get some
powerful.
energy? Can
You
I get
trying to hold back.
that
Can we just let the
Caribbean?
line out, please?
I'm trying to think. You know,
Well, let me see
we're
if I can
broke.
get a hook for you. What can we do as a people to get away from looking at the oppressor for ways of building wealth that we had before they oppressed us? How do we get back to that position?
We have to learn about what we did. The oppressor made sure that they burnt our libraries and made sure they destroyed information so that we don't have the opportunity to actually read or understand what it is we did. When they give us their plan on economics, it is a strategy to trap us into needing them. So we got to go back. Why was the richest man in the world ever a Black African man who was not a pale Arab Muslim, but an African Muslim? What did he understand? Why did he have resources? There's something about him that we're not being taught in schools, Mansa Musa, right? We're talking about that we need to begin to learn about. But you can't learn about Mansa Musa if you never even know who he was. And we learn about who Mansa Musa is by way of our true religious identity, because within our true religious identity, we're going to learn about those BBs, those Babas, those actual priestesses, those priests, those doctors, those lawyers, those engineers who made a way for us and had a way of doing it where they didn't depend on other people. We're still dependent on other people. We're still afraid to just get up and let them fall off of our back and do what's necessary to unite with each other. We trust the people who we know oppressed us, who we know disrespect us, who we know is a liar. We say silly stuff like, better the devil you know, instead of learning about how we can communicate and get to each other and build. And that's why we fought.
Okay, Brother Metzicanoe, how do we build that trust within each other so that we can get to a liberated state that we belong in?
Well, first and foremost, there was a man called Nellie Fuller who gave us our mantra, Relso Web. And one of those points in our mantra was economics. And economics is based off of etymology of the word is economics within the house. So from that perspective, we utilize from the scriptures 5 steps of building wealth from the scriptures or the Bible. One is budget, and we need to learn to track how we earn and spend our money. That's in Luke 14:22. Saving, Proverbs, it's 6:8. It represents, it stores provisions for the summer and how and food for the harvest. And that's a principle of how life is filled with unexpected circumstances. Um, invest, Ecclesiastics 11:2. We need to invest in small businesses that we form within our communities, so we can pass on generational wealth from our children's to our children's children. And we need to also make sure that we have suitable businesses that we can support and maintain each other. We need to learn to give. Malachi chapter 3, verse 10. We need to give tithes and offerings. We have a charitable organization, Marge Baby, that we give to every year. And we need to pay our debts. Proverbs 22:7. It states like a borrower is a slave to the lender. And we need to live within our income and plan for bigger and plan for bigger expenses. And that was a term coming from Elijah Muhammad out of his book, Message to the Black Man. So when someone asks me that, I say we have 5 principles of budgeting for wealth. And with that, I yield the floor.
Thank you, brother.
Can I add to that?
Yes, please.
When you talk about building trust, we build trust by being around each other. Agreeing with everything the brother just said, Brother O'Neill just said. I'm also saying, while we put those principles into play, we have to be around each other. Because I'm not going to trust you based on what you tell me. I'm going to trust you based on what I see. So if I'm around you consistently, and I can consistently see your behavioral patterns, I begin to trust based on seeing you regularly and seeing your patterns regularly. This is why we got to gather. This is why we got to eat Shabbat meals together. This is why we got to get to the Kanisa together. This is why we got to do Sila together. See, the trust that is needed in economics is built through your religious identity, your social reality. Us being around each other to build and counting on each other. I know that you're coming and you're going to bring your skill. I trust when it's time to build something around you, we know who has the skill to do what. This person is good at this. This person is good at that. And when they bring it and they do what they're supposed to do with it, I got trust and I can build with them. So now when we take those skills into the market and say, hey, we got a construction company, or we got a food company, or we got a whatever company, I have trust that that's going to work in the market because I've already worked with these people and I've already put it to use. So I'm not guessing. I know Brother Misu is a master builder. I know Sister so-and-so or brother so-and-so does what they do. This person can cook. This person can sew. This person can fix cars because I'm around them consistently doing it. You understand? And that's what helps with build trust.
Okay, so let me jump up in here and bring some, because I'm coming for you all. Please, this is my disclaimer because I am coming because I want some real answers. Okay, so anybody has ever lived in, suburbs or urban environments, right? In the city, whether you call it a hood, right? Right now in 2025, they say YN, right? Young, right?
Yep.
And that's what they call them, right? And they're saying that YNs are destroying Black culture, right? They say they're doing it from the inside out. You see a lot of things on social media, whether it's people gambling, people talking about selling drugs to try to get money. It's always about, I got to get that money. I got to get that clout. Money and the moment. Money in the moment. That's what it's about. So kids are no longer dreaming about building this wealth that you're talking about because they're like, okay, Calhoun, okay, brother O'Neal, I bet you I have more money in my pocket now than this long-term dream that you're talking about, right? So what is the biggest challenges for, and thinking about when you were that age, when you were young, how you view money, what is the biggest challenge that you were facing, and what was a more positive way for you to address it instead of going
What was it?
to,
What way?
could you please provide an example of a positive way to address it for the teens or for the youth versus peer pressure of the streets?
Okay, first I would say you have to first understand that you do not have.
Your sound went out, Calhoun.
Can you hear
Okay,
me
Brother
now?
John. There we go. Yes.
Right, right. No, I would say the first thing that I'm saying to the younger generation is you don't have a culture. You have a cultureless culture. You've taken what they've given you and made it something that you can call a culture. But you don't have a culture. And so, am I still being there? Okay. And so
But the
the
coaches get
reality
money.
then is, right, the culture is getting money to destroy itself. I'm getting money, but what am I doing with it? I'm putting more tattoos on my body. I'm buying more alcohol. I'm buying more weed.
You only live once.
Right? I'm not actually investing it in a business. So that idea of you only live once doesn't apply when they cross the street because they still look both ways. Doesn't apply when I'm in the car because I still put on a seatbelt. So you don't really want to die. You say you're not here for a long time, but a good time. That's what I hear. But then you're having children that begin to look up to you and ask you, well, what are you going to leave me? So it ain't about you living once. It's about what are you going to leave for those that you have made responsible or that you've put in place to depend on you. And so when you talk about a positive way to deal with the YNs or deal with deal with a age group that doesn't really understand long-term wealth, we got to become the example. They're not interested in what we got to say. They want to see what we're gonna do. They want to see what we're doing. We got to put the line together in our own line. We got to put the businesses in our Myrna, and we got to show them what it is that's necessary for them to do. They don't care what we have to say, and I don't blame them because they got enough people telling them what they should be doing when they can go out there and make money off of selling drugs, make money off of gambling, make money off of doing decadence. We got to make sure that we are the best example of the success that we're talking about from our true religious identity. That's what's going to help us there.
Brother John O'Neal, do you want to jump in? And I'm going to throw a little spicy sauce on it. Remember,
Okay. Yes,
I'm just
ma'am.
doing this for the sake of the conversation. You're an OG and you're broke. These people on the streets, they making money. Why should I even respect you? I didn't have a father in my house. And now you coming to me talking about men and nobility. And that's just the. So if they're looking at you with no real respect, right? How do you have a conversation about money if that's the only thing I respect and I'm looking at you like, man, come on, you work for the man.
Okay. Thank you for the question. It's funny you say that because um, a while back, 20 years ago, I was working in a youth center, and I was working with kids who are at that level of low income, out in the streets, drug, gambling, throwing bricks all over the place and, cussing and wilding out. And they always thought of me as the square, but they respected me because I was I came at them from a perspective to where I was at their level. I didn't stand above them or I didn't chastise them for what they did. What I did was said, hey, let me show you something. Let me show you another way to earn money, and I can teach you how to do something. So what I did was I used to make soaps and I used to sell them. And they used to go, Mr. O'Neill, could you teach me how to do that? And I'm like, sure, and I took the time out to show them how to make soap, sell it, and make a little profit off of it. And what they did was, they were there. Some came, some didn't. But when they finally realized that they can make money to help put a little money on to help make a little money on the side to feed their family, inclusive of doing the other debauchery that they were doing, they I gave them a choice to listen. You can do that, but here's another way of doing that. And that I'm trying to wean them off of it by not criticizing or critiquing them, but showing them a different way of how to do business from a perspective that they can earn it without getting in trouble, and showing another way of making money. And when I did that, the kids were like, this ain't gonna work. Come a few years later, they're like, "Oh, thank you, Mr. O'Neill. I'm selling soaps and I'm opening up my own business, and I appreciate everything you did." And that made me feel good because I didn't critique them. I made them aware. I pointed a way out where they can utilize a different way of making money by showing them, listen, it may be corny, it may be something simple, but something simple and corny can get you out of a situation from making you be in jail for 20 years. And from that perspective, that made me feel good that I was able to do that. And to this day, the kids still recognize me for doing that. And I yield the floor.
Okay, let me go ahead and jump in one more time.
Sure.
I want to show a quick video. I'm going to start it now.
He's a nuclear physicist and an anthropologist. When I started learning about our history and culture from Africa and so on, that pushed me intellectually. When I'm reading Cheikh Diop now, and he's a nuclear physicist and an anthropologist and an Egyptologist. Cheikh Diop, right, from Senegal. Yeah, I'm like, wow, this man's fantastic, man. And I'm reading his books, and he could be a physicist and then be an Egyptologist at the same time. And, to push himself into these domains where he wasn't welcome, and then give us the evidence we needed now, the scientific evidence about what was going on in ancient Kemet. And, physiologically, what were these people? So when he started, testing, the melanin concentrations in their skin, they didn't even want to give him the skin samples. You could get the samples from, I think, some of the ones in France and stuff, but he wanted some from the royal family. So he wanted to identify Ramses as a black man and so on. Egyptians wouldn't give him the samples. They didn't want him to identify that, so, but I have great respect for men like that now, and then Ivan Van Sertim. That told me, I don't have an excuse. Do the work. You can push yourself. You can go as high as you want to go here. When I started learning about our history and culture from Africa and so on, that pushed me intellectually. When I'm reading Cheikh Diop now, and he's a nuclear physicist and an anthropologist and an Egyptologist, Cheikh.
Sorry. Okay. It started over. I was like, So based off of that, right? A lot of times we talk about success and failure and the being in culture, right? So can you please give me an example of your lessons that you learned from past experiences of either great men or women or people, everyday people, regarding collaboration? Give me an example of a success and a failure and how it informed you for your future efforts. An example of success, an example of failure, and how it informs you for your future efforts.
Well, one example of success, or several examples, um, the Greek-lettered fraternities and sororities have been around now for 100 plus years. They have found ways to tap into the elite of our people and get their efforts and everything that they've worked for to move in whichever direction they need them to move in. That's a model or a template for what we as true Christians can do, whereby we can use those principles that were there before even them, but something they tap into and begin to take the best minds from amongst our people to build what we need to build. An example of something that didn't work are people who just want to open one-off businesses, right? I get all my money, I save it, I buy my my inventory, whatever it is I'm selling, and then COVID hits, I'm wiped out. I can't reopen. I got to go back and work, go back on the job. The difference between those two examples, the other examples, right? One is an individual trying to be successful economically, and the other is a group trying to be successful. The groups will always outlive the individuals. And so we use that group example as a template and then begin to factor in our way of life and what it would mean for us as the Holy Coptic Church or the Nation of Islam, whichever group amongst us that's fighting for liberation for our people. We're going to outlive any individual that thinks, well, you only live once. You got to do what you got to do. You understand?
That's
And
perfect.
so, yeah, I pray that answers the question.
Brother John O'Neill, this is the
Yes.
last part. Come on,
Okay.
bring it. Send us off with that fire and heat to go to the next segment.
All right. Well, one thing I want to reiterate with Brother Uncle Sarah was saying was that I started off in a business. I own 2 franchises. They were successful at some point, and then it ended up becoming I had to close them down because of political and financial situations that ended up making me close them down. But at the same time, that success was great. But but the failure was, like Cajon Uncle Sarah said, it was individual. And although I meant to hire my people, and everyone has their own way of doing things. Everyone don't think that just because you got a business and you're melanated, they don't think that they have to obligate to you. But when you're practicing group economics, you have more than just your business to focus on. You have the business of your neighbor. You have the businesses of your church. You have the businesses of your brotherhood and sisterhood. People around the world are depending on you, and you're depending on them. So when I got out of that perspective of individualism and grow and join a group identity, what made me realize is that I have more wealth when I'm with a group, as far as being individualized, thinking people are going to support me. And with that being said, look at how we look. I mean, how we dress. Um, our clothes represent us like a franchise. Our businesses represent us. Everyone will know who we are based on how we go out in the public. We're setting up a successful venue of making sure that this carry on from the next generation to the next. That old age Proverbs 13:22, leave an inheritance for your children's children's children's. And with that, I yield the floor.
Well, thank you
Amen.
for joining us for this segment. Thank you to Sister Ka. Thank you to Kahun Ankusara. And thank you, Brother Amenta. Thank you so much. Get ready for the next
Quite welcome.
segment, Mapping Our Financial Habits.
I am somebody. I am smart. I am successful. I am healthy. I am my brother's keeper.
So this is the Black Family Master Plan that was created out of the training session that I missed this year with Julian Gordon, right? And it's broken down into 4 different categories. There is earn, protect, sustain, connect. So if you don't remember anything else from today's presentation, just remember that piece. Earn, protect, sustain, connect. So the earning is, how do you increase your income and your income sources? Protect is, how do you go about limiting your downside risks in life for you and your family? Sustain is, how do you make day-to-day life pleasurable and fulfilling? And then you have connect, which is, how do you go about creating those experiences and connections that will serve you for many generations to come. So
you're rich, but I'm wealthy.
I don't know.
I didn't know the difference. And he said, what's the difference? He said, well, wealthy is when I'm die, when my kids die, when their kids die, when their kids die, we're still gonna have the same amount. And I thought about that. Then I said, okay, how you do it? And he pulled out a piece of paper. After he said, it ain't about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. How many times we seen cats would get the bag with 100 and then they go blow it the same day. Now they got to get another 100. So he said, if you got $100, you save that. That's 50. He said, rich people will say, okay, I'm saving 50 and I'm doing that. But he said, the wealthy does this. You save that. This, ball out. House, chain, car, whatever you want. But
75.
Save it, yeah. That's what he said. So
from here on out, I'm no longer saving 30% of my money. I'm stepping it up to 75 because I'm trying to be wealthy.
That when I was 95, and I did that, and I didn't spend my first NBA check until I started having families, because I was making so much money and I wasn't that educated. So I was like, I don't want to spend it. I know that.
Right.
And like people always say, you got to invest and got to invest, but still you got to be educated to know what you're investing in.
Right.
Like I always used to try to invest in the get rich quick schemes. But
how many of them did you
all
fail?
I failed all of them. Yo, man, me and Gilly gonna do this podcast. We're gonna do the Shaq and Gilly hats. We're gonna sell them online. We're gonna give me 100,000 next week. I bring you $1 million. Never worked out.
Never.
But then when I started investing in stuff that's gonna change people's lives, because I heard Jeff Bezos say that. He invests in things that's gonna change people's life. That's why he created Amazon.
Yeah.
And once I started doing that strategy, I think I probably quadrupled what I'm worth now. So then I was like, a lot of kids from my hood need these shoes. They need them. I'm gonna put $1 million in. Get rid of the 10 million Reebok was paying me. I'm gonna take $1 million off the 10 that I got last year, put it to the shoe company. Let's try it, and it works.
Right.
So when you invest in stuff that people believe in, most of the time it'll come. But the youth should know that. It ain't about how much you make, it's about how much you keep.
Right.
Guess what? It could be a day. I hope it's not a day. I hope you shine. I hope you get your bag forever. But it could be a day where the bag stop.
Absolutely.
And then, when I talk to people, I always speak to them from the athletic terms. What makes athletes great is because we can adjust.
Absolutely.
If Neon Dion running this way and the defense coming out, he can adjust.
Right.
So if your bag gets messed up, adjust.
Adjust.
Or get a new bag.
Absolutely.
But if you save from the old bag, your adjustment time gonna be much much
a lot easier.
We earn a good living, Bo. We're doing fine, okay? And this property tax thing, don't even worry about that. My guy, James Brown, is all over. Are you sweating?
Yes, Dre, I'm sweating because I don't like talking about money. We made a deal. You would be the money guy, and I was going to be the kid wrangler. Do you want to be the kid wrangler?
No.
Because there's an e-blast that needs to go out.
No.
And we still haven't figured out summer camp. And the twins class is looking for a parent to go on a field trip to the solid waste plant.
Damn it, Bo, I'm all over this money thing, okay? I know every cent coming in and every cent going out.
Son, I need to hold a G. I got a tip on a pony, and I'm a little light on walking around money.
Oh, sure, no problem, pal. Just the grand?
Just the grand.
Just the grand.
There you go, right there. Okay, you got it. Okay, let's just put that under going out.
Welcome back, and we be heard.
Yes, sir.
Master.
How about now? Can we be heard?
Yes, you can.
All right, you're listening to the Holy Cooking Church of the Black Messiah, the Journey Home Group International. We are in the men's conference. We're talking identity, faith, and prayer. Why, how, when, what does this represent? What are we here to do? I'm Rev. Dr. A.J. Varma Basesh Hardu Hotep Tar. It's my honor, it's my pleasure on behalf of all the member children to welcome you to our Men's Conference 2025. This is Saturday, the 13th of December. Wow, year's almost over. I'm going to go ahead at this time and pass it over to my sister, Nada Saud, and she's going to take us into this next session. My sister, you have the floor.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Okay. Welcome everyone to this session 2 of Men of True Faith Consciousness Conference. And today we gather not merely as individuals, but as custodians of a collective future. Now, so the Holy Cryptic Church teaches that that liberation is incomplete if it's only spiritual, a faith that does not translate into economic strength, protection of our families, and continuity of our communities is an unfinished faith. And our ancestors understood that. They understood that survival required cooperation, and dominion requires structure and planning and a collective responsibility, right? So this conversation today is not about shame or comparison or personal failure. It's about clarity. And we're going to be honest in our conversation. We have our members from the United States, the Caribbean, Africa, and the United Kingdom. And from there, we're going to examine the focus of this session is mapping our financial habits as Black men and activating collective economics. So with me today is Sister Natasha Blake, all the way from the UK, and she's going to start us off. Namaste, sis. She's going to start us off with our first question.
Yes, namaste. Good afternoon, Dr. Tucker and Kahun Uncle.
Namaste. Good afternoon.
Can I be heard?
Yes, you can.
Right. Thank you. Your financial mindset defines your financial perspective and is often influenced by how you were raised and taught about money. What key money lessons have you learned growing up, and how do they influence your habits today? That
some,
is Dr. Tucker or Kahoot?
Yes. Yes, I can start with that. You
Yes.
said, what key money lessons did I learn and how
Growing
does
up.
it influence me today?
Yes.
Well, I learned from a very early age that you have to, if it's something you want, you have to go out and work for it. You know, you have to find a way to earn money. So from an early age, I would always work with my uncles and my stepfather. Stepfather was a mechanic. He had brothers that were auto mechanics. I had an uncle that was a carpenter, and I had an uncle that taught he taught heavy equipment, how to drive and operate heavy equipment. So from a very early age, they would take me to work with them, and they would pay me. You know, they didn't pay me by the hour; they more so paid me by the week. But I'm young. It was still money that I could have for myself. So I learned how to do roofing. Well, not how to actually frame the roof, but how to actually do the shingle. I used to spend my summers on top of the roof with my uncle, shingling the tops of houses.
Okay.
My,
Okay. I'm going to interject for a bit because what I want to know is how has your perspective of money changed from then? Because you were
okay, I'm going to get to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to that part. I'm going to
Okay.
get to that part. So they when they would pay me, they would always say, "Don't spend it all.
Right.
Don't spend it all." So I opened a checking account, banking account, savings account. And I'm thinking I'm at the time I'm maybe 12 years old. So I had an account with my older sister.
Yeah.
So, you know, over time this accumulated. And then as I got older, I got a regular job where I earned money. And that same thing passed on to me. I remember not to spend all my money, keep
Right.
some of it, put it in savings. So to this day, I still have accounts that I save money in. So my earnings are not all spent on bills or clothes or things like that. Always have savings. Now, what do you use those savings for? Would be a good question also.
Yes.
Do you just let the money sit in the bank? Or do you take that money and you invest that money in something to grow the money or to grow an organization or to do things that will benefit our people? So when you have finances and you have access to finances and you have access to people that can help you generate finances, then you take those things and you use them for a worthy cause. For me, here at the Holy Coptic Church, the worthy cause is us building our own cities, our own towns, our own grocery stores, our own laundromats, our own schools, several churches. These are the things that are needed. These are not things that we want. These are things that are needed in our community. And one of the definitions of economics is the proper use of time and energy.
That's right.
So how do you use your time? How do you spend your energy? Well, I
Yes.
use my time to study, but I'm not studying for me. I'm studying to teach and lead and guide that next generation the same way that I am being guided.
All right.
Right. Like Amos Wilson said in his video about the consciousness of manhood, isn't it? How you transform from being a male to being a boy to becoming a man. You
Correct.
apply the same thing to your finances and
Yes.
what you're going to be doing with that. Okay, I would like to pass that here, Uncle Kahun's uncle perspective on this before I pass this over to Nala.
Sure. Can you just repeat the question, please?
The question it was, what was the key lesson you have learned growing up, and how do they influence your habit today? How has the perspective changed with the knowledge you're gaining from atonism about money and finances?
Well, one of the key economic tools or realities that my father and my mother really, what they taught me, one of the things that sticks out anyway is passive income. Investing in something that is going to give you some returns while you're in your sleep, right? Yeah. This is one of the reasons why when I had the opportunity to be a part of the Holy Coptic Church, I jumped at it because I saw it as a viable investment. The Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah was not just a church, someplace I could go to and then one day die and go to heaven. It was a place that allowed for me to build heaven on earth, build businesses. Sorry?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were calling me. And so,
no.
So atonism retuned or refined the understanding of compound interest, because I'm learning about compound interest in my spiritual life. I'm learning about something called Gador, right? How to take beneficial energy and store it for when I need it during adverse times, right? That's also a part of my economic plan, because I understand that if I have the money, but I'm still being faced with adversity, now I got to use that money to fight the adversity as opposed to using the money to build more positive things. There are many people that do a lot of things to get a lot of money, and then they got to give the money to the hospital, they got to give money to the doctors because they just want to live after they've done all of the debased things that they did to make the money. And so I learned about passive. That was one of the main. My father taught me about compound interest, and he taught me about investing. And I watched him invest, try to invest, and do everything that he could to be able to leave properties and funds for my sisters and I when he transitioned. And my mother, she was about making sure that you had stable income. Make sure that you make proper use of your time to have a steady income to be able to invest. And I watched her go from an apartment to a house and being able to retire and now live a relatively comfortable life because of the choices she made economically.
I will pass it over to Sister Nala.
Thank you, sis. Okay, so our Rev, Dr. A.J. Varma, he warned that the Nubian male is an endangered species. In fact, he wrote a book on it, right? How does financial instability, the lack of savings, the lack of insurance, and long-term planning contribute to that endangerment across the Black diaspora? I want Cohen Uncle to start, please.
Okay. Well, all of those things that you mentioned keep us in a vicious cycle. Okay. When we don't sacrifice at some level of our collective growth to be able to stop long enough and say, this may not be the insurance plan that I want, but this is something. Okay, this may at least allow for my family not to have to worry about how I'm going to be buried or cremated. Right. When we begin to think or plan in a way that allows for us to see past our nose, and begin to understand that when you transition, someone got to bury you.
Yes.
You ain't jumping over by yourself. Now, if you do it They may keep you around to make some money off you, right? But the point is, all of those things that you mentioned are the cause of those things are us focusing on an environment that wasn't built for us in the first place.
Yes, Eric.
Just survive and live for today only and not worry about what's going to take place next week, next year. We don't even plan. We don't know what a Q1 and a Q2 and a Q3 and a Q4 is. We think that's football. That's all we talk about when we talk about quarters.
Quarters, right? Okay.
You don't understand that it is possible for your money to work for you.
Yes.
And you don't have to work for your money all the time.
Yes.
And when I say I'm one of those people, I am learning now as a member of the Holy Coptic Church that you can do things that require only one step, and everything that you're trying to get can take 10 steps towards you. And that's a powerful, powerful reality that we're learning within the Holy Coptic Church. That you can actually do things that seem minuscule, that seem not a big deal. But when you look up 6 months, a year down the road, sometimes it happens overnight. I know people who have had changes happen overnight.
Yes.
Because they align themselves with certain principles that allow them to plug into certain principles of abundance.
Yes.
And I'm not talking no spooky stuff. I'm talking about the fact that there are formulas within reality or within nature or within economics, whatever word people use, that allow for us to actually work together and begin to make not just money, but create wealth and create value.
Yes.
You may not have the money in your pocket, you know, but your actual name and who you are can allow for people to say, okay, well, I know you all need a building for your church. I see the work that y'all doing. I'm going to let you start out for 6 months with no rent to get started and get into this building.
Yeah.
And there's a store on the side that would allow for you to put a grocery store in there and beginning to make some money. Offer your influence.
Yes.
So it ain't all about just money, but money is important now. I mean, we want money now. Don't get it twisted.
Dr. Tucker, you want to give me your few words on that?
Yes, please. But do you mind repeating the question, please?
Not a problem. So I had mentioned about Dr. Obama's book that warns that the Nubian male is an endangered species. And the question was, how does financial instability, the lack of savings, insurance, and long-term planning contribute to that endangerment across the Black diaspora?
Well, I think lack of savings, lack of money is used to misguide a lot of Black men.
Okay.
You know, the flashy clothes, the cars, the lifestyle of a rapper, or the lifestyle of an NBA player, or the lifestyle of a football player. The new fashion items, you know, it sells us an illusion, you know, because the NBA players, they're getting paid to wear the base type clothing. You know, they get paid to wear women's clothes. They get paid to carry purses. You know, so when a young individual sees that, they see this person has been made to be famous by the media, and they're being paid by companies to wear things that mislead Nubian Melaninite men. So this is what they have access to. This is what they aspire to be. And you mentioned the book. The Nubian male is an endangered species.
Endangered species, yes.
Well, the Nubian males that are atonists, we don't have to worry about that because we have rules and regulations that we follow. So you'll never see one of us walking down the street in a dress or carrying a purse.
Yes, that's right.
Right. So, you know, we understand what money should be used for. So we're not out trying to make money and generate funds to go get a gold chain. So because we have a culture, because we are being guided properly, because we understand that there are dangers that exist outside in the streets, you know, everybody we know at 6 a.m. every morning, pretty much everybody that knows me know exactly where I'm gonna be at 6 a.m. Eastern time every morning.
That's right, Sila.
You know where I'm gonna be at 10 p.m. Eastern time every evening.
Sila again.
So that gives me purpose. That gives me intention. Yes. So I have somewhere to be at a particular time, so I'm not out running the streets.
That's right.
Okay. So our disciplines, it gives me my responsibilities that I'm supposed to do as a man, manhood. And I have to live up to that. And I understand that it takes money to do the things that we need to do. So it's my responsibility to go out and work and generate funds so that we can do the things that we need to do. So I embrace this way of life. I embrace this culture. I embrace the responsibility. I accept it, and we are going to get it done. So when we read these parchments about the Nubian male being an endangered species,
yes.
A Nubian male that has not embraced his true religious identity. He's living in that image and the image of the beast.
Yes.
He's chasing things.
You
know, so that energy has to be redirected. That time has to be redirected.
Yes.
It's all about how you spend your time and energy. That's economics. That's what we're talking about. How you utilize your time and energy. I'll leave it there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and ask the next question. From theology to practical, mobilizing Black men to lead and heal. The question I want to ask is, are we ready to build the businesses that our community requires to maintain and support itself, to change the economic structure of our community as Atonism from our perspective?
Are we ready?
Did you hear my question?
Yeah, I heard the question.
Yes.
No, we're not ready.
Are we not ready?
No, because we won't gather.
So what do we need to do?
If I don't know you, why am I going to spend money with you? Why am I going to build a business with you and I don't even know you? Just because we say in the mosque too, just because we both got a coupon, just because you know about Sesh and I know about Sesh.
Right. So how are we going to move forward from that?
When we come together and we eat together and we build together and we pray together and we do what is necessary and we train together, that's when we'll be ready.
Right.
Other than that, we're just talking.
Yay.
Same question, moving on.
Okay, yes, I think we as men, we have to stop making excuses.
Right.
We can't continue to make excuses for the things that we should be doing. We have to man up. You know, if we're supposed to be somewhere, we need to be there. If we're supposed to contribute towards something, we need to figure out a way to contribute what we're doing and stop making excuses. Because at this point, I don't have it. It's not an option. You know, we're men. If we're men and you're supposed to do something, we have to man up and do it.
So how do we develop that trust that we require to pool our resources together? What are your suggestions?
Well, we have to spend
especially for
time
people
together.
looking in?
Yes. We have to spend time together. You know, we have a brotherhood, you know, and this brotherhood allows us to come together and do things together. So when it's time for a brotherhood meeting, be there.
Right.
Once you are given your directives and instructions, you carry those out, no questions asked. Because I played sports growing up, so you know I had coaches, and I remember my college coach, my freshman year playing college football. I was on scholarship. So when we reported, it was like 100 people out there. So I'm like, man, I've never seen this many people on the football team. So, you know, the coach was like, okay, we got too many. He said this. He like, some of y'all not going to make it. And so for the next 2 weeks, we had 3 practice a day, every day for 2 weeks. He called it Hell Week, but it was actually 2 weeks. And he made it his business to run off those weaker people. They would be leaving in the middle of the night. And one thing that he said that stuck with me, he said, I don't care if you like me. I'm your coach. You're gonna say that I was an a-hole, but we won every game. And we won every game.
Yeah.
So and he said he was looking for the few and the proud. So those of us that made it through those 2 weeks, we went on that first year, we finished 9-2. We lost 2 games. The next year we came back, we won the Black College National Championship. We went 11-0-1.
Wow.
So we didn't like what we had to do, but it was necessary.
You have to do what is necessary.
It was necessary.
Yeah.
We became winners. So what we are going to be asked to do, it's necessary if we want to win.
Okay.
Anything, Uncle Stora, after what you said? Anything on that note?
Well, I agree 100% with what he said. You know,
you already said what he said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think that we got to be constantly aware of what we're up against.
That's it.
And what you're being told or asked to do is way less painful than what you're going to experience if you don't do what you're supposed to do.
And we already experiencing from racism, white supremacy. So how come we can't do what is necessary when it comes to us, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The system.
All right. So while in preparing for today's conference, we listened to one of Dr. Amos Wilson's speeches. And in it was mentioned that a people who are dependent on others for their economic survival cannot develop an independent consciousness. So my question is, in listening to Cahoon and Dr. Tucker speak, I wanted to, and when they spoke about what should be required to get it together, I want to know, as individual men, right? So in mapping our financial habits, your financial habits as Black men, I want to know how many of the Black men in here knows their credit scores, knows what their monthly expenses are, their debt to income ratio, whether they could survive 90 days without income. And I want to know, do they know what does this reveal about the preparedness versus survival mode?
Okay, so you're asking me personally, do I know my credit score?
Some men do not know their credit score, and in some countries like the Bahamas, we're not on that level as yet, as far as knowing what our credit score is.
Okay.
Unless we go into a bank to get a loan or something like that, and then they'll do some sort of calculation. But
okay, well, personally speaking, yes, I do know my credit score. It's fairly easy for me to check mine because I have the apps on my phone, because I have experienced identity theft. So I have a lot of alerts set up to notify me when something unusual is taking place. So yes, I do know my credit score. And if we are a part of a group and we're practicing group economics, me losing income would not be an issue because I'm a part of a group.
Right.
And the group, we generate funds, we're pooling our money for everybody in the group. Right. Everybody in the group that's participating and working, they benefit. So I don't have to stress about that as long as I am contributing. Now I have to do my part.
Right.
So I lose my job. So I can't do that. So now I got to go find a lawnmower where I can cut grass or rake leaves or take out the trash or pressure wash the driveway or sweep the street or something to generate funds. If that's what is required, we have to do whatever is necessary to accomplish our goals and meet the needs of the group. So we have to be willing to do that. So yes, I am aware of what my credit score is. Here in the United States, it's fairly easy. You can just put some apps on your phone. You know, you can get certain alerts. But as far as working as a group, you know, that's difficult for some people. Some people I speak to, you know, they don't want to pool resources for various reasons. But we're safer as a group than we are out as individuals in the street. Because let's say I own 100 acres of land and I'm one person. I have to pay the taxes on that land. If let's say they don't want to, let's say they want to build a highway or a shopping mall on that land and they take me to court. Where once they take me to court a couple of times, I'm not going to want to keep paying those court fees to fight them. Yeah. Because the people that want the land, they are a group. They're not an individual.
Right.
It's a group that wants your land. It's a group that wants your property. So we have to get away from that individual mindset and do what is best for the group.
Amen.
Unfortunately,
I don't think we have credit score specific. We have a credit rating.
Right.
And I do know my credit rating. And I don't want to say it because I don't want all the girls in my inbox, right? Looking good. Okay. Looking very good. Okay?
Yes.
You asked if we know if we can live without an income for 90 days.
Right.
I absolutely know that because I just did that. And they still are.
All right.
Right. Because I have, again, a group that I operate with.
Right. That's right.
You understand? Every year in November, we have what's called the Feast of Men within the Holy Coptic Church. And that's not merely a feast just to get together and eat. That's actually the time of year where you're supposed to check stock of everything. Right? You're supposed to, you're supposed, because you're going into what's called winter solstice. So you're supposed to check your finances, your health, right? So every year, if I don't get to do it exactly around that time, I make sure I get it done, within that period, let's say, right? And also just talking to my family as a group, right? Like I have sons who are starting, they work now, right? They pack groceries or they help sell Christmas trees or they're in school, but they're also working. And so I now have the conversations with them to say, okay, now each of us can take a portion of funds and we can begin to invest as a family into certain things. You understand? And so that's something that we're now going into. And so, but I have the Holy Coptic Church to thank for that. Because without these type of conversations, I just they're playing numbers. I mean, I play sometime, not all the time. I don't like the pen. You know what I mean? You understand? It's all y'all play. Yeah.
No, I don't play. I don't buy numbers.
You don't play? You can't win.
No, come on, I don't buy numbers. Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for that. Sister Natasha, your next question.
Yeah. So the African philosophy of Ubuntu says, "I am because we are." Humanity is what we inherit from our ancestors, in whose image and likeness we were created. So we say that it's not just finances, because not everybody might have finance, but how do we encourage the men who will join or who is already here to use their resources? What sort of resources can they use in order to help us to grow what we have and create generational wealth?
Well, here at the Holy Coptic Church, we have been encouraged. Education is encouraged here for everyone at the Holy Coptic Church. So that would include the men. Education and skills. You cannot build a nation, you cannot build a city, you can't even build a house without skills and education. Whether you have the education or someone else that you're paying has the skills and the education to do it.
Yeah.
So we're looking for people that, if you don't have the skills, are you willing to go and acquire the skills?
That's right.
If you don't have the education, are you willing to get and acquire the education? We don't need or want someone that's trying to come and do nothing. If you're lazy, this is not going to be the place for you. If you don't like to read, if you don't like to study, if you don't like to work, this is not the place for you. So stay where you are.
I'm on.
So we want people that want to do something. We want people that, if you don't have skills, are you willing to get the skills? And if you have skills, let's add to the skills that you have. If you have education, let's add to the education you have. Let's be inspired to do what is necessary. So if you're lazy and you don't want to read, you don't want to learn, you don't want to do things, you don't want to help build, you don't want to contribute, then no, this is not a good fit for you.
And we have to look at the type of education they have, right?
Correct. Well, once you get here, you're going to be re-educated.
I'm on.
But you just have to be willing to be re-educated, willing to learn, willing to gain those skills. But here you will get the proper education. That's correct.
Yes.
And Kahun Uncle?
And can I say, yeah, we have everything we need right now to build a city. I mean, that might sound like I'm exaggerating, right? But we literally have every single thing we need
to build a city.
To build a city,
Yeah. Yes.
CITY.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
build
we
it.
have everything from EMT, doctors, to farmers, to mechanics, to architects, to builders, to chefs, to pastors, to everything we need right now, we have it. The only thing stopping us is us.
Come on, man, let's do this.
You understand? We literally can build a city today.
Yes.
We have the land. That we did the hard part. We just gotta figure out now that we want to work together and build it.
Yes.
So all of the education and all those different things, we're so used to giving it away to somebody else, just a couple dollars, as opposed to actually. I'm not saying don't work. I'm not saying don't make money. I'm saying utilize it to also build for yourself.
Yeah.
And make sure that when people tell you you can't have no more of their money, you could say, well, thank you, because that's what I did. You understand? When they start freaking themselves out, I say, all right, well, fine. I could go work with Brother Me too. I could be his helper. I could go find Brother Owen and say, what you need me to do? I could go find Sister Sean, what you need me to do? You understand what I'm saying? I could go be a helper and learn. Hey, Dr. Tucker, I know they don't let me. You can't.
Oh, we can't hear you just now.
Do something. I can learn. That's right. We can work together. That's all I'm saying.
Come on. I pass it back on to Nala.
Okay. So, Dr. Jessica Gordon Nembhard, she said that cooperation has always been a survival strategy for Black communities. Yeah. So, and you guys may have touched on this, but I want you to go in more depth. How do colonial borders continue to divide our economic thinking, and what would it mean to intentionally build?
Well, you said how do colonial borders
continue to divide our economic thinking, and what would it mean to intentionally build Black male investment networks?
Well, I think, I know that colonialism it's being introduced on so many different levels. So we speak on that from a religious standpoint when we talk about Hellenism and how Hellenism teaches us, or monotheism teaches us to seek power from outside of self.
Right.
As opposed to atonism, we understand that the kingdom of heaven is within, according to Luke 17:21. So the kingdom of heaven is within. So the first thing we need to build is we need to repair ourselves internally.
Yes.
So once we do that, once we embrace this true religious identity and we have the blueprint of what we need to do for our particular, for our survival on this planet, then we will start to move and take the necessary steps to build those things that we need in order to survive.
Right. Yes.
Calhoun, you want to give your 2 seconds?
All I want to say, because I hear the music playing,
yes,
is that to intentionally build means to be unapologetically a Nubian melanin, unapologetically a Black man, unapologetically doing for self and kind without making excuses and then actually making it work. And that's what we got to do.
I'm on
Thank
to
you
that.
so much for having me.
I'm on. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
I am somebody. I am somebody. I am smart. I am smart. I am successful. I am successful. I am healthy. I am healthy. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper.
You gotta have what you never had in this country. That's a group self-interest. You've been inculcated and coordinated and brainwashed and believing that you got some obligation and responsibility to save the world. You got to save everybody first before you save yourself. Now, I'm a pilot. I don't fly anymore. I'm too old to be flying. But one of the first things I would tell people on my plane as passengers, the first thing you do, if we lose cabin pressure at 30,000 feet, we don't have any cabin pressure at night over 10,000 feet. If you lose cabin pressure, a panel over your head will fall down.
Mm-hmm. Right.
When that mask falls down, the first thing you all should be doing is putting the mask on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Quit trying to save everybody. Why does always got black folk marching, trying to save it? We're marching for gays. We're marching for women. We're marching for poor people. We're marching for the handicapped. And yet you only control 1/2 of 1% of wealth. You haven't got a snowball's chance. And in the end of slavery, as I said, you had 1/2 of 1%. Guess what? The average white person at that point in time had 3,500 times more wealth than the average black. That means that 99% of everything in this country was in the white society. And it's still in the white society. I don't care from Vermont all the way to California, San Diego. 98% of everything of value is locked in the white society. 87% of it's frozen, locked into white society. You can't get it out. So all you got to compete for is about 13% is up for grabs.
Mm.
And if black folk don't learn how to compete for that 13%, you are through. And right now, that's what's happening around the world. You see all these, we're going to implode in this country. Same thing happening in Germany with the Jews. And there was a book out called Hitler's Willing Execution that said the same thing. When certain kind of things began to happen to you as a group, you better be very careful. And they wrote that as a big, thick book and about what's going to happen. And they started exterminating the Jews. Why? Because you got a group now that you all don't know about called the Council of 300. What they want to do now is say, we got too many people on the earth, and we're going to start losing resources. There aren't be enough resources left. We got water. We're going to have water shortages coming. And when water shortages come, what follows that is food shortages. Right now, 20% of the world is suffering from water shortages. We're going to start having water shortages in this country. We have water shortages and have food shortages. So what the council and all these rich people on the earth are saying is that we got to start getting rid of some of these people. We're going to start with the non-producers. Now, who are the non-producers in America? The only people in America that produces absolutely nothing except sweat is black folk.
That's real, though. I get what you're saying. I feel you.
No, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, right now, all of our people that are supposed to be successful, guess what? The only thing they produce is sweat. They're running with balls, football, basketball, baseball, tennis ball, golf ball, singing and dancing, producing sweat. Nobody's buying any damn sweat. And how are you going to feed yourself? Right. You don't produce anything. We don't have any industries. And we had a chance to get industries in 1700s when the Industrial Revolution went through Europe. Black folk were slaves. When the Industrial Revolution went through America in the 1800s, we were still enslaved. We own and control absolutely nothing.
You don't think that's changing?
Black children were given a more inferior form and quality of education. So the Bantu Education Act, which then created segregation of schools, white schools were given more funding. There was more that the government invested into an education of a white child than the education of a black child. And the education of a black child was also one that was inferior, where under apartheid, a black child went to school to learn how to become a laborer, to learn how to come back to work for the white man. Right? You had subjects like woodwork. You had subjects like sewing.
Because I've said before, every characteristic that we may call maladjustive in our personalities as a people, in our society as a people, has an economic function. If you would look at any characteristic that with which we describe ourselves in maladjustive terms, you can trace that trait back to economic advantage. You see, the fact that we have not been able to recall the means by which we saved money as a people and financed business means that other people who remembered their historical techniques could establish businesses in our communities and take advantage of us. So then our amnesia, which is what we suffer from most of all, historical amnesia, works to the political, economic, and social advantage of all of those who exploit us. We talk about, of course, the technology of Eurocentric psychology. We talk about the fact that if you are a so-called normal, law-abiding African person, in terms of the way those concepts are defined in this society, then you're out of your mind. What we call pathological normalcy. We talk about the fact that personality is not just it's not really a psychological concept. People think the concept of personality is psychological. Personality essentially is a political and economic concept, you see. Because when you look at personality as an organized system of desires and wishes, values and hopes and needs and motives, which when the person seeks to satisfy them, they consume things. You will note then that the things we consume to satisfy our personal needs are those things sold to us by the people who created the needs in us to begin with.
Namaste. Welcome back to the third session, where we'll be discussing picking your collective organization. I'm Sister Jan, and I have with me today Kristen. Okay, namaste. Namaste. We will be interviewing, where's our interview? Kahun Mantu, Char, and Brother Demarius Freeman. Okay, we'll get started. So my first question is going to be directed to Kahun Mantu Char.
Yes, I'm here.
Am I being heard?
Yes, you are. Yeah, can you hear
Okay,
me?
thank you. Yes, I can hear you, Kahun Mantu. Okay, this is a bit personal because we're talking
Why are
about
we
Black
asking me?
organizations. Because you're going to be able to address this. You don't have that wonderful title of Kahun.
Good.
Okay, so I'm talking about sororities and fraternities. I'm going to preface this a little bit of writing as an AKA. As a sisterhood, we've done $45+ million spent with Black businesses, 1.8 million weekend meals served, 3.5 million voters educated, registered, and mobilized, 20,000 kids in our Leadership Institute, and a Guinness World Record for service. Now, in addition to that, there's a gentleman that I follow, I mentioned him last night, Carter Rankin. He talked about the Divine Nine. And when we talk about the Divine Nine, that's all of the Black Greek organizations, primarily US-based, but they're now spreading out across the globe. It says, let's talk about the Divine Nine, a $200 billion network still waiting to be used. Here's what the public record shows. 2.2 million members, 150 to 200 billion in total individual annual earnings, thousands of chapters, a century-long legacy, and the National Panhellenic Council, which governs them, earns $3.3 million a year in revenue. So bearing that in mind, my question to you, Cajon, what are the non-negotiable values that a collective organization must embody to be worth our time and commitment? Is it good enough that they're doing all of those good works, but we still call ourselves Greek?
Is it good enough that they're doing all that work, but I didn't hear the last?
But we still call ourselves Greek organizations.
Okay, Greek, as in Greek. Okay, Namaste family. All of that sounds great, and financially it is good. But it's not just that it's good, it's where is the money going? That's number one, right? Because if we're making all these funds and it's not been put back into us as a people, and I'm not just talking about you're making it and you're putting it into certain charities, because we understand that main charities, only 20 to 30% of the actual funds make it to where it's supposed to be going. So we understand this. So when we're looking at this and we're saying, well, all this money that we're making, is it going to the right place? Is it helping us as a people? Is it helping our children? Is it helping our families? Is it helping our brothers and sisters? Is it helping our nation on a whole? Is it helping in areas where we really need growth? If it's not helping in these areas, then that's one aspect of it. But when we're talking about the funds, it's not just about money, because we have a way of going out there and saying we're raising money for this purpose, and we're raising money. But yet, the fact that you said, but we're still using the Greek terminology, that it tells you where the mindset is. We're not saying African. And remember, we're saying African liberation theology. We're saying this. Last night we'd be talking about, we're talking about an African liberation theology. So if we're not making sure that we're pushing things for us, we're going forward and making sure that whatever we're doing, we're affecting the minds of the younger ones. Now, if I'm part of a organization and I want to bring other people in the organization, we got to show success within the organization. And that's what normally allows people to get involved. When they see how successful you are, when they see you walking down the road, whether you're in the uniform, and they can see that you're achieving goals for people, they want to get involved. But these are the way that we're supposed to be getting people to recognize how good we're doing. So is it only about money? No. Money is one aspect of it, but we do need it. Let's not think about, oh, we don't need money. We just got to be looking good and just make sure that we're about other people. No, people need to survive. When they need food, that's about money. When they need to pay their rent, that's about money. When they need their taxes sorted out, that's about money. When they need clothes, that's about money. When they need to study, that's about money. Everything that we have in the society, so the money is needed. But again, I'll go back to where I started. It's about raising the funds and where are we directing the funds? Who are we giving the funds to? Because a lot of the time, we're giving the funds to certain politicians and they're not putting it in the right avenues. So we've got to start saying, well, let's create, and I know we've heard this so many times, let's make the schools that we need in order to make sure that our children are taught right. But part of the problem in making the schools that we need is, especially in England here, I don't know if it's the same throughout the world or in USA, but you can't say I've got a black school, but you can say I have a religious type school. And that religious school will allow whoever is a part of that religion to get involved with that school. So now if we put an Atonist school together, then we're attracting Atonist people, Atonist children. And there'll be those that will just want to come here because it's a good school. But the fact that you're in here, we can now convert you like the Catholics do. So we've got to create the vehicles, the learning vehicles whether it's on religion, whether it's economics, whether it's about empowering them to do sports, whether it's about entertainment, well, sell web. We've got to use the vehicles to empower our people to do greater works. And that's why I'm saying it's one thing making that money, but with all that money that's been made and we can see the situation that we're in, it's obviously not being sent in the right areas.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Namaste. This question is directed to Demarius Freeman. Okay. Your life is the greatest sermon you will ever preach. Your actions, character, and daily behavior are a powerful message that teaches more effectively than spoken words. What specific problems or needs in our lives or communities should this organization aim to solve?
Can you repeat that last part for me, sis? I barely heard you.
The brother's asking if you can repeat it.
I stated, your life is the greatest sermon you will ever preach. Your actions, character, and daily behavior are a powerful message that teaches more effectively than spoken words. I want to know what specific problems or needs in our lives or communities this organization aims to solve.
You said what particular problems should
Needs in our lives or our community that this organization aims to solve?
This organization aims to resolve all of our problems, all of our stress, all of our traumas, all of our frustrations, because we talk about the 9 precept principles or the 9 levels of people activity based off of our Baba Neely Fuller. It starts with the religion, then the economics, then the labor, then the sex and gender, then the education, then the war security, on down all the way to entertainment and politics. It addresses each and every single aspect where we as Nubian Melanites in this latter day have found ourselves being mentally enslaved, spiritually enslaved, physically enslaved, and emotionally enslaved. So when we start with that religion, as we spoke about yesterday in this man's conference, the religion gives you the rights, and the rights give you the culture. Those rights are the rituals and the things that you practice. They give you that character. So when we at the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, when we show up for our Shabbat, when we do our challah bread, when we come in fellowship and communion with one another, we know that we're not at the strip club on Friday nights. We know we're not at our friend's house smoking and drinking or fighting. We understand that this is a time for fellowship. And also with our religion, it tells us as noble men how we are supposed to dress. It gives us our hard bottoms. We're supposed to wear hard bottoms. We're supposed to wear collared shirts. We have to have on our Nazarene cruciform. Our regal ladies, they have to dress fully clothed. They have to have their hair a certain way. Their makeup is not caked up and caked out to where their skin complexion on their face look different than their skin complexion on the rest of their body. I don't mean to laugh, but that's how the sisters are looking in this day. They don't have the eyelashes looking like snuffleupagus. They don't have the big nails just hanging on, the fake nails when they have their own nails. They have that natural look. They embrace their natural hair. They know how to cultivate it. So those are the things that are true religious identity, stressed and addressed. And as Kahun Muntu was just speaking about, it's the mind. The Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, when we have that religion, that is the first thing, because that's where everybody beliefs are. That's where everybody strives to do things. That's where everybody decides to, okay, yeah, this time I am going to turn the other cheek. I'm not even going to fool with this person. Or this time, no, I got to stand up for myself. I got to speak about this situation. So that religion is very important because that's what we all move after. No matter whether you are a 7-day Adventist, no matter if you are Baptist, no matter if you are part of Islam, no matter if you are Hindu, that religion sets the basis for every single thing that you are going to do in your day-to-day life. It's going to address your character. It's going to address your burdens. It's going to address your traumas. It's going to address how you as a man carry yourself. It's going to address what kind of spouse you are looking for. It's going to address how you raise your children. And that right there is of our most important thing. Because when that religion is set, we can move forward with the things that we are talking about. When we speak about the economics, when we speak about our brothers and sisters coming together and trying to build, when we speak about true manhood, that religion allows for that true manhood. We at the Holy Covenant Church as Atonists, we allow true manhood here because we have a true religious identity. We learn about Baba Sheikh Anta Diop. We learn about Baba Ben Yosef Joe Cannon. We learn about Baba Martin Luther King Jr. We study them. We have to analyze them. We have to take the pieces that they brought to us and say that we are standing just like them. Because at the end of the day, we are our ancestors. So that is the most important thing in this latter day when it comes to us addressing our problems, because the religion creates that economics. As we spoke about it previously, once we know that this is the garb that we have to have on, this is the neb unk that we need, we must wear hard bottom shoes. So we're not going to go to the store and buy the skinny jeans. We're not going to go to the store and buy the jeans with the holes in their pocket. We're not going to try to go buy some Air Force Ones. We're not going to try to go buy some Ken Griffey Jr. shoes. I don't know if y'all know all these shoes, but we're not going to go and dress like what is taught to us on the outside and saying that this is fashion. We understand that we have our own fashion. We have our own way of life. We have our own walk. We have our own look. We have our own talk. And it addresses these things.
I'm on. Thank you, Tamaris. John, can I ask a couple more questions? Okay, Calhoun 1, 2,
a little bit.
I have a nephew that is in a lodge. And I asked him one of the reasons why he joined. And he said it was actually for legacy reasons, because his great-grandfather, uncle, and cousin are members. And he also stated that a part it was an ancient brotherhood. Can you speak to the potential organization mission, how it aligns with our personal life goals and the legacy that this organization holds?
We're having a little bit of issue here, so I'm not hearing you properly. I think you said, hang on, let me take this out. That you'd like me to speak on.
Well, he mentioned that he joined his organization because of legacy. His great-grandfather, cousin, and uncle were members. I wanted to translate that to the potential, not the potential, the organization that we are a part of, its mission, its personal life goals, and the legacy it wants to leave behind.
Okay, I think I got you now. Well, we're talking about the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah. Now, that's providing I'm hearing you right. If I'm just stop me because I may go on a tangent. I don't want to go on a tangent, and I'm talking about nothing that you asked me about. So if I start to do that, why don't you go? No, stop. Right? So what I'm hearing you talking about the Holy Coptic Church of the Black Messiah, like we all said, this was our mother, is our mother, and this is you're now saying, why are we here? We're here because this church, this organization, this religion, this way of life, this culture, this doctrine, it suits what we as a people need in order for us to get liberated. Why am I saying this? Now, it may not be for everybody, and we make this clear every time we teach that if this is not for you, then find something that is for you, but just don't sit there. But this, to us, that's here, as members, that's children of Anaire and all the guardian angelic hosts, has decided that this is where we can see liberation and the effect it can have on our people. Now, are we intending to save the whole earth with this doctrine? No. Are we thinking that this religion is going to convert everybody to this way of life? No. Would we like it to do that? Yes. But realistically, will it do that? No. Because as we're walking the planet, we overstand by the studies that we learned within the scriptures that there's always, that he said that they was cast, Satan and his angels were cast down here. So if Satan and his angels were cast down here, they have also setting up sororities and fraternities and churches and doctrines and way of life and cultures that we're going to encounter and our people are going to get snared and caught up in. We can utilize this that we're learning today, that we've studied today in this day and time, to release the snare that has held a lot of our people, whether they be in Hinduism, whether they be in Catholicism, whether they be in Islamism, whether they be in Hebrewism. No matter where you walk, right, we're here with you. Whether they be as Shriners, whether they be as Masons, whether they be as merchants, wherever they walk, we've had to study your doctrine, talking to them now, in order to, so that you can see where you're walking and where you should be. This nobility that you see around us is a way of us saying, listen, we're not the average people here. And we're proud to say this. We're not the average men here. We're proud of this. We're proud of everything we have. So our doctrine, our culture, our religion, our way of life is what is the legacy that we will leave behind in the sense of the things that we intend to achieve. Yesterday when we were speaking, we spoke about Much Baby. We spoke about bring back babies. We talk about the works that we're doing in Africa. We talk about the buildings that we're building in Africa. We talk about the stores that we've put up, Tree of Eternal Life, right? And the things that we're putting in place, this is going to be part of our legacy, that our children can see that we're not just a organization or a church or a religion that just talks. We put things in place. We build men and make them noble men. We take the average man from the street and build him. We take sisters and make them into women and into ladies. This is the legacy that we're leaving behind. In saying this, our teachers work diligently. And I've watched him, he's my brother, Dr. Amadou Varma, and I've watched him write and write and write. I was there when he wrote his first book, to his writing now, to we're all writing now, we're all teaching now. So we're at the stage where we have to now say to ourselves, what is it that we want? We want to make sure that those that are able, those that are waking up, those that are sitting in this day and time, because there's a consciousness going across the globe in this day and time, but they don't know what to expect. They're all talking, oh, they want to talk about liberation, doctor, we want to talk about being liberated, but they don't know where to go. They're not hearing the right things. But so everybody's talking stuff and it sounds deep, but it's not really deep. So we're here to say, hey, as my brother said the other day, we're the only show in town. We are the only show in town. Nowhere else do you hear this. You hear things really, but we're the only show in town that is delivering like this. So the legacy is that we must achieve the goals that we put in place in order to make sure that our children, our wives, our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, our fathers, our uncles, and make sure that our ancestors are proud of us.
I'm one.
I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay, my next question is going to be to both of you, starting with Brother Demarius, and then also Colin Montu. Proverbs 13:20 says, "He who walks with the wise will become wise, but a companion of fools will be destroyed." I have a little bit of a story. My first $1 million business was made with the aid of a Canaanite. He taught me how to use other people's money to make money. And I was like, wow, this is not something that you get in school. And I think I went to pretty good schools, but this is like insider trading, because even though they were millionaires, they never used any of their own money. So my question is, because they were Canaanites, should I not have dealt with them? What qualities are we looking for in fellow members to ensure a supportive and productive environment? Is there any point in time that using a Canaanite is beneficial or right? Starting with Brother Damaris.
Can you repeat that last part, sis? Is there any part of...
Is there any point in time where working with a Canaanite is right or beneficial?
Well, according to Bobby Neely Fuller, if we don't understand anything or understand racism, white supremacy, everything else will confuse us. So it's not that you working for the Canaanite that's the problem. It's just, do you understand and know who and what they are and what you're dealing with as you're operating amongst them? Because of a lot of times, a lot of us find ourselves working with Canaanites and jobs and things like that. We're dealing with them on a day-to-day basis out here because we're in their system. We're in their society. We work at their jobs. We go to their schools until we get the programs necessary to set up for our own schools and our own teaching and in our own doctrine. We have to navigate it in a manner where we know who and what we're dealing with and how to teach our children and how to teach our families and how to teach ourselves navigating through that situation. Because me, myself, I worked in the eye field. Eye care, ophthalmologist. I work with Canaanites, but knowing who they are teaches you how to deal with them until you get enough of skill, enough of tools and doing the necessary work to get yourself up out of it. Or you find a black business. Say there's a black ophthalmologist that I may know. I can go to that business and learn from them. You're learning ultimately because at the end of the day, they learned it from you. A lot of the times when they speak about accounting and numbers, where do they refer to? They refer to the ancient Egyptians. They refer to their accounting systems and what they taught in ancient Kemet and what they taught about numbers and what they taught about science and what they taught about mathematics, what they taught about healing herbs, what they taught. They get it from us. As Baba Sheikh Anta Diop already proved that we are the original people of Kemet. We are the original people of these doctrines and of these teachings. So there's nothing wrong with learning that from the Canaanite. What's wrong is that we use that and try to operate in their system instead of building something for ourselves. We go to school, we get the degrees, we become doctors, but we don't do it in the sense of having our own business. Baba Amos Wilson actually taught about this. He said that a lot of us, when we go into school, first of all, school is only set up for two things. It's either to work for them or to go to prison. Those are the only two options that we as Nubian Melanites have in this latter day. We are either working for them and building their goals, their wishes, their dreams, their liberation, or we're in their prison system doing the very same things. The goal is to get out and create businesses for us. Like you learned about your accounting from the Canaanite, but you decided to use that money for your people. I can say that because you're here at the Holy Cooked Church of the Black Messiah. You are a member, and I know you do the necessary sacrifices and the necessary works like a lot of us do here. So you're putting those efforts back into your people, back into your liberation, making sure the young people come up and they know better and you teach it to them. That's what it's got to be. Nothing wrong for working with the man, but know that that is not the end goal. Ultimately, you should be working and learning skills to create your own businesses, creating your own future, creating your own jobs. So that is not the problem at all.
Come on. Kahamantu, you have something to add to that?
You really want me to add to all of that?
I know.
It's okay. let's let's put a little bit of salt on it. Everything he said there, my brother, was spot on. So there isn't much you have to add to that. All we're saying is that we can't make the fact that we know who they are, but we're in their system, even though we're in this world, but of this world, we're in this world. And we need to perform within this world. So if there's going to be somebody that's going to take you and show you, and one of our great teachers, Baba Tumre, he mentioned that a Jew taught him certain things, how to do business, and he learned from there. The work that I do as a builder, I've gone in many Caucasians' homes, and I repair their homes. I do works with them, and there was actually one that I was going into business with to do works with them, in the sense of buying land, building the properties, building it so that we could sell them and make money from it. It's not about working with them, because the person was asked, was it successful? Yes, it was successful. Obviously, you said it million, so it was successful. Are you here? Yes, you're here. So do you know thyself? Yes, know thyself, and thyself be true. You're doing that. So obviously, you didn't get caught up in it. So yes, we can do this. And like my brother said a while, as long as we understand that it's a means to an end, and don't let it fool you. Okay. We tend to believe that this Canaanite, this European is okay. He or she is different from the rest of them, right? And he's cool, he's okay. You know, John, Paul, Bill, he's all right. He's all right. He's not like them, because you know he smokes weed with me. We drink together. You know, we do all these. You get what I'm saying? I'm just saying, talking as a regular person out there, right? And making it that as if they will. He's different from the rest. No, when push comes to shove, he knows where to be, and they will only assist us if it benefits them as well, some way or another. So we've got to understand this. That no Canaanite is going to come to you, no Caucasian, no European is going to come and make you a million and didn't make himself 10.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we got to understand that there was a give and take here. So instead of saying, yeah, he was so good, he did all this for me, she looked out for me. Yes, but they made sure they looked out for themselves too. None of them do that. And if they do, that means that the brain is wired wrongly. Something is wrong. They're sick. So therefore, you still got to be careful, because you're dealing with a sick sociopath. Right. Just saying, right? Nothing wrong. Just know who you're dealing with. Understand that if I'm dealing with the hyena and I'm a lion, it's a hyena that I'm dealing with, and that hyena will turn on me if necessary. But because the hyena is eating more than I'm eating, they're going to say it's okay for you to eat small while I eat big.
Yes. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Okay. I'm going to pose a question. Anyone can answer. Is there a clear process for conflict resolution when disagreements arise between members or leaders?
I didn't hear what you said clearly, my dear.
Okay.
Did you, my brother?
I heard a part of it. Can you repeat it, please, sis?
Okay. With persons, there are different personalities in day-to-day operations. Conflicts arise or disagreements arise between members or leaders. Is there a clear conflict resolution in place?
Every leader and every organization, I didn't hear all of it, but I think I got the grasp of what you're saying, believes that what they're doing is the correct way. Every organization's leader believes that how they're running things is the right way. And every organization believes how they're running things right. And it may be the right way for what they're doing at that time. We've got to understand that within when someone or an organization is doing their best for the situation they're in with the limited resources that they know, they're trying to do the best. That's why we have a way of saying, well, we take pieces of the puzzle, and our teacher did a thing where he took pieces of the puzzle and brought us to us, because as one ism, atonism, we're taking out Africa out of everything, and the pieces that we know that we can utilize here to make us better. So I'm not going to blow our trumpet, but I am in the sense of adjust it, look for yourself. If we're taking the strength from everywhere else around us, then we're saying, well, that thing that you had worked there, nation, that thing that you had worked there, Mr. Israelite, that thing that you had worked there, Mr. Christian, that thing that you had worked there, Mr. Islam, that thing that you had worked there, we're going to take portions of it. But not to knock any leader, every leader, as they're growing, they're in a situation, they're in a day and time where they're limited to whatever they are within. And they're going to try their best to do the best that they can do. We're in this day and time now where we say it's a great day and time, and a dreadful for some, great for others. Meaning, right, for some people, they're gonna taste fire, because we're about to raise ourselves up to that level where we can now start to control things financially, as well as emotionally, as well as physically, and as well as religiously. All across the board, we're about to do this. It's starting to happen. There's a shift taking place. We call it the Karas consciousness. They call it universal consciousness. But whatever consciousness it is, you've got to realize that atonism is the right direction to go. And then we're going to now look and say, well, what makes it that? Because the Nazarene will have come back. The Nazarite doctrine is back here again. And they tried to make us throw away our scriptures. They tried to make us move away from religion, because they gave us all these different dogmas, all these different religions, and said we knew and said they're not right. But most of us didn't even realize that there was something there for us. But those of us that have now tried everything and realized that it's not working, there's one place. I said a while ago, I'm going to keep saying it. There's only one team here. We're in a league by ourselves. It's not fair to anybody else. It's just not fair, right? But we're in a league by ourselves here. And atonism says to all those teachers, we're going to help you, and all those leaders, we're going to take what you did and perfect it. And that's what we're doing now. We're perfecting everything that they all tried to build, and everything that they put on the table. We're picking it up and making it better. That's our job. We're doing our job.
Okay, thank you. I want to direct this question to Marius. What qualities are we looking for in fellow members to ensure a supportive and productive environment?
You said, what qualities am I looking for in fellow members to ensure a productive,
supportive and productive environment?
The very first quality we hear at the Holy Cup, the Church of the Black Messiah, to become an atonist, you have to come amongst us. I just want to say this to get the basis of it. You have to come amongst us, sit in the True Light Fellowship hours, sit in the classes, come to the Kanisa for about 90 days and see if it's something that you want to, pursue. Does it inspire you? Does it make you want to be a better person, better man, better lady, better sister? You have to sit here for 90 days. Then you have to take a baptism, which is an oath. That very oath that you took. And once you take it, now we can hold you accountable to it, because we have to do the very exact same thing that you did. We had to take that oath. We had to clean up our character. We have to open up our original books of the Bible and read the book of Ma'at. We have to learn the complete etiquettes of nobility. We have to learn our doctrine. We have to read the scriptures. We have to learn the language. We have to learn the typography, the geography, the topology. We have to learn all these things so we can hold you accountable to those very same things because we had to do it. That's why I love the scriptures as which Kahun Munktu was just speaking about. That scripture allows us to see the character of those people that come our way. The scriptures allow us to hold one another accountable to that character and to that level. Because this is an oath we took. It's a commitment that we said we're going to live our way of life like this. We're going to teach our families like this. We're going to live for future generations based off of this. And those are the very same characters that we expect. So when you come amongst the Holy Church of the Black Messiah and you take an oath, we do what 2 Timothy 2:15 told us. We study to show ourselves approved. We do what John 14:12 told us, because the Messiah said that greater works than me shall ye do if you believeth in me. So that's the character we're looking for. Are you learning the rites, the rituals, and precept principles? Are you learning your true religious identity? Are you doing the work? Are you going to school to make sure that you have the skills and the discipline to set up your family and protect your family for future generations? When we have Maj Baby and we're doing the backpack to Africa, or when we're doing the baby doll give back, are you a part of these things? When we're doing the men's conference, are you contributing to the men's conference? Are you tuning in? Are you giving suggestions? When we do Love Lives Liberation, are you participating in Love Lives Liberation? Are you going to speak to people? When we do Just Walk, are you coming to walk? Are you talking about sickle cell? Are you making sure you get your yearly checkups, making sure you're healthy? These are the characters of us as Nubian Melanites that we are looking for and we see as atonements based off of our scripture. And other people, we hold them to their scripture. That's why scripture is so important. You say you're a Christian? Okay, well, let's see. Let's go to the Bible. Let's go to the language. Let's look up the Scientology, the topography, the geography. Let's look up the different cultures. Let's look up what they say. Are you sure that this is what you are following? Are you sure that you are really a Christian? Are you sure you're really a Muslim? Are you sure that you're really a Hindu? Are you sure that this is the character that you say that you have and this is what you believe in? Because we are going to hold you accountable in this time, in this latter day.
Thank you, Brother Demarius.
Amen.
Okay, we're nearing the 1 o'clock hour, so we'll make this the last question to both of you. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, bad company corrupts good character. Now, we know in an organization, it's only as strong, as they say, as the weakest link. So what are the potential obstacles or challenges that the organization might face? And how do they deal if there's a weak link in that organization? Demarius, I guess you can go first, and come home, you can close.
You said, what are the challenges? We face every challenge as Nubian Melanites in this latter day. We have grown in the Western society, the Caribbeans, all across the diaspora. We are continuously dealing with racism, white supremacy. We're continuing to deal with their gods and their teachings and how they teach us how to walk and how they teach us how to talk, what their examples of beauty are, what their examples of what good food is, what their examples of entertainment is, or what a hero is, or even to the level of their gods. This is what we're worshiping in this latter day. This is what we're imitating. We're imitating the image and likeness of the beast in this latter day. So we're going to face all those problems as an organization, because it's not just happening to us as atoners. It's happening to the Nation of Islam. It's happening to the Hebrew Israelites. It's happening to the non-denomination Christian church. It's happening everywhere. We're going to have to deal with all those problems. Those people who like to go to the strip club and like to smoke, some of them are going to see the Holy Church of the Black Messiah and be like, man, I want to be a member. But as I was previously speaking about, you got to come here and sit down for 90 days. You got to come here and sit down and be taught. You got to come here and sit down and be vetted. You can't just have a leaderless leadership. You can't just come here and sit here and do any and everything that you want to do. So we need that kind of instruction. We need that kind of guidance in this latter day when it comes to that. Because we're going to face all those adversities. We're going to face those, you know, I'm not even going to speak for other people. I'm going to talk about myself. Me, I talk about it every single time. Before I became an atonist, I love marijuana. And I have to say it every time because I don't want nobody to think that I'm just this perfect, I don't know, amazing young man or all the great things that people say about me. But no, I love smoking. It was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I said Loved, love, past it.
Past
But it was
tense.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Like, if you was not smoking, we don't need to talk. You can't even, I mean, when they say Kush is my cologne, I don't know if some of you elders know that, but when they say you walk into a building and you smell like marijuana and you take it as a badge, that was me. When they say you're a pothead and you got a whole bunch of bongs and everything, that was me at that time. But once I learned about atonism, once I learned about the Holy Cryptic Church of the Black Messiah, and I took my baptism, and one of the first things that I was taught by Basesh Har Hotel Tar, he said, no, we don't smoke. That's the first thing I put down. It was done. I did it cold turkey. I didn't do it like some people do it. You know, you stay at the Holy Cryptic Church for a little while, and then you try to tuck aside and you try to smoke a blunt and nothing. Nah, I put it down. But that's what it takes in this latter day. It takes that kind of commitment. It takes that kind of level of discipline, saying, no, that this is what I'm going to do. You need something that's going to inspire you, something that's going to teach you, something that's going to guide you to want to be better and do better in this latter day. And for me, that was atonism. So once I learned the flaws of my character, I made the necessary changes to become a better young man and to do better and to be better. So that's what it takes.
Kahamantu?
I'm laughing because when he spoke about the marijuana and he had struggled with it, and that he did it every day. I remember someone testified up here as well that they did it with it. So you and that person, Carl, definitely would have been great. I'm just saying, I couldn't help it. I tried not to do it. I tried. you testified anyway, right? But I was there too, so I was that. But it does take a way that we have to work towards in making sure that we reach this nobility. Now, I'd like you to just say that last piece of your question for me again, because I'd like to address that. Just if you don't mind, sis.
No problem. Well, I gave the example that evil communication corrupts good. Yes? So what are the potential obstacles or challenges that the organization might face, and how do we deal with that weakest link?
Okay. Now, there's always going to be a weak link everywhere. No matter what organization you're in, there's going to be a weak link, right? So what is put in place is for all of us. Now, if you can follow, like my brother said, all the things that he mentioned a while ago, if you can make an effort to do these things, if you can make an effort to do your sila, if you can make an effort to make sure that you touch your chinook when you're going through the door, if you can make an effort to put that nose ring in, if you can make an effort to put that earring in, if you can make an effort to put your kufa in, you can make an effort to put your African garment, you can make an effort to make sure your shield is on part of you at all times, if you can make an effort to wear, right, all the paraphernalia, if you like, that we have, the ring, the ankh, everything else. If you can make that effort, and a lot of times people say, it's money, it's money, it's money. Yeah, but we have to dress a certain way, conduct ourselves a certain way in order to separate physically so the mind can separate. Because the mind follows what I say, the mind leads the body. So when you see someone's body, the mind is telling it what to do. So if they can't put on our garbs, the mind is saying that you're not ready yet. You're not willing to walk the street and be a noble person and let people look at you and say, this is who you are. So the weak link is addressed by the things that we put in place, the studies that we put in place, our liberty that we put in place, our culture that we put in place, our way of life that we put in place, our religion that we put in place. All of these things is to address the weak link within all of us, not just out there, because as within, so without. So there's a weak link in all of us. There's within us, we've also got to look and say, what do I have to address within myself? Because we all have things. So now when it comes to the organization, you address these things by just making sure that you implement them. We're here today. Every one of our members who are capable and able should be here today listening. And I'm sure they are, right? Those that can't, there's a reason. But this is what we're supposed to get to, that level where we bring people to what we're living to. It's the weak link is addressed by living our doctrine, our religion, our way of life. And once we do that, the weak link's addressed. And now we're just dealing with what? Strength. Iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel. Everything that we work towards, our brothers keep us, help us, our brothers make sure that we help each other, and the weak links addressed by how we live. If we live in a community and we're living in that community mind, then we address the weak link. Because when you're feeling like, oh, I don't want to go and do SEALA today, someone's knocking your door saying, come on, let's go. But when we're scattered all over the place, it's hard to do. Because you can sit there by yourself and there's no one to check you. Sometimes you need that check. And wives have got to check their husband, and husbands have got to check their wives in order to say, let us maintain the things that we need to maintain for our children. Because if our children don't see us doing it, they're not going to want to do it. So there's many things that we have in place to strengthen that. And like I said, iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel. So we've been around each other, make sure that we live accordingly and we correct and stabilize and strengthen the weak link. I pray this has helped us.
Come on. Thank you to our noble gentleman and my regal lady. And there's an old African adage that says, if you want to walk fast, walk alone. But if you want to walk far, walk together. Namaste.
Namaste.
We'll be right back.
On my thoughts, but they lead me to places that gon' hurt me inside. I've been trying to stay strong, but when the memories spawn, I gotta chase them with whiskey, cause they run on my mind. Can't turn the radio on, because they only play songs that take me back to those days and all those late night drives. When you lay on my arm, tell me what I do wrong, and I would look in your face and say, but girl, I try. I'll try. I try. I tried to be the man that you wanted, but I couldn't provide. 21, I was young, dumb, living, chasing dreams, trying to go from a boy to a man. I gave my heart to a pretty little demon who was asking for the world in a Disney romance. She valued money, not the substance that I had. I was building for the future, but she couldn't understand. Had that a diamond all these times over time, under pressure that's applied from a disciplined hand. She let me go, then she moved away. Said she could do better and I was a man she could replace. Said I wasn't worth it and the memory that we had made was just wrong time, wrong place, and a whole mistake. I keep trying to move on, I GPS on my thoughts, but they lead me to places that gon' hurt me inside.